What is going on, everybody? And welcome to episode one of the LuxxRyder Show. Yay, we back. Oh my god. So, for those who might be watching this on YouTube, this is raw, unedited, for at least for now. But yeah, for those watching on Twitch, hello. Yeah. So basically, I cannot get this straight to save my life, can I? There we go. That's good. Alright. So basically, for those who are new to me, the LuxxRyder Show basically is something I did 10 years ago. That will be basically I just went over whatever I felt like. You know, it's kind of like what was on the top of my head. Usually covered motorsports, racing, stuff that's going on in the world. I think this go around, I'm going to stick it strictly to motorsports and racing opinions. And maybe dive a little bit deeper into other stuff. But right now, it is just going to be exclusively to that. But yeah, I decided I wanted to have a show opportunity where I could just kind of speak my mind on a lot of stuff. There's a lot of opinions I have on all different types of topics that I usually keep right up here and only express to certain people. So I said, you know what? Let's let it out. Let's let it out. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing for here. On this week's episode, we'll be covering everything from this past weekend's race at Watkins Glen. I might dive into a little bit of what happened at the IndyCar race over at Gateway. And then we'll go into previewing this upcoming weekend's race at Daytona, the final race before the Cup Series playoffs. Or Bristol if you're Chase Elliot. And then also we'll be going over the return of F1. F1 is back this weekend at Spa. They end their summer break, so we'll be going over that. And we'll be hitting some hot topics. One very hot topic that's been going around is the, I guess you can say, rivalry, animosity between Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. Ross Chastain we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about who's gonna be one to watch this weekend. So all that coming up basically here in next, I guess you can say, hour or so. But yeah, if you missed the live stream and are watching this on YouTube, don't worry about it. I will try to post whenever next episode will be airing live on Twitch on my Twitter channel, so make sure you go check that out at the LuxxRyder. Sorry, Real LuxxRyder is 01 at the LuxxRyder. So yeah, without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. So this past weekend, we saw quite an international affair weekend over at Watkins Glen International Raceway. 7 different countries represented in the Cup race for the first time in history. Most different countries have ever been represented in one NASCAR Cup Series race, and it was awesome. So, but yeah, now first off, I'm gonna say this: I didn't get to watch the race. Fortunately, I don't have TV, so I couldn't watch the race. But I was watching Twitter updates, and I saw highlights, which we'll get into here in a second. Matter of fact, let's do that right now. Da-da-da. So we'll get into it right here in 3, 2, 1, bang. So yeah, basically going into highlights now. This was really cool. The race started under rain conditions, which was really interesting to see. It was the next gen cars first. Chasing the rain in the first, and the turn looks crazy. Really interesting. I think everybody was really interested to see how the next gen car would take terrain because the previous gen, the Gen 6, its only real rain race at Coda was a mess. You couldn't see. It was horrible. So a lot of people want to see if some of the new stuff maybe improved the next gen rain. And I like to think it did. I mean, I didn't hear too much chaos going. Of course, the spray is going to be sprayed no matter what you do. But yeah, Watkins Glen is always going to be one of my favorite road courses of the year. It's very fast. It's very quick. It's definitely the fastest road course we go to. Because most of the time you're on the throttle. Like, there's not a lot of really, really low speed cornering at Watkins Glen. Most of the time you're at least in second or third gear, kind of rolling off the throttle a little bit. But yeah, fast forward here. Chase Elliott jumps out to a big lead. He won the pole for the race. Showing a little bit of old school Chase Elliott. Chase has always been good at road courses. That's something we always know. But especially here at the Glen. I think he's won 2 races here at the Glen. But yeah, I was the spray wasn't too bad. Granted, it wasn't constantly raining. I think it just stopped raining, if I was correct. Somebody fact check me. Oh, yeah. Allmendinger went around. And apparently he wasn't the only one to see here replays. I think in that situation, they probably shouldn't have thrown a caution. Because one thing I say is, I understand local cautions, but if there's a car stuck there that hasn't moved and you get more cars coming down there, then it's throwing a caution. If the car can keep back going, then don't have to throw the caution, the full course caution. But if it's stuck there or stopped there, then yeah, you might have to do something. How about Michael McDowell in this race? McDowell is a very underrated road racer. He's a very underrated one. Man, has he been impressive the last 2 years. I don't know what's gotten into him because I really don't know what's gotten into him. I don't know if that Ford, if the alliance he's gotten with Ford and Roush Penske, whatever, if they've improved, but that 34 team is a lot better in 2021 and 2022 than it was anywhere in 2020 and 2019. Frederick, the guy who's won 2 road course races this year. This is where they were switching from rain tires to slicks, back to slicks. Oh, this is great racing here. This is real great racing. This is why I love Watkins Glen is you can run like this. You know, you don't have to worry about, oh, he locks it up. I don't know if he locked it up or he just did not want to take that risk going in the corner because he knew the outcome would not have been well. Here comes Chase Elliott in the pit. I think Hendrick was the last cars, the last teams to the Hendrick teams were the last teams to make the switch over to slicks. They were trying to play the long game of it, but here they finally pit. Chase Briscoe showing a little bit of his Xfinity Series skill on the road courses. Cause I remember 2020 and 2020, him and Cindric, man, Cindric and Allmendinger were like the top 3 guys on the road courses every single week. Like, you knew those were the guys you had to beat every single week in the Xfinity Series. So showing a little bit of that. Kimi Räikkönen making his debut. I just saw his name go across the header. Kimi Räikkönen making his debut on Kimi Räikkönen making his NASCAR debut. Apparently he did pretty well. There's a bug flying around, so if you see me swatting at that, please ignore it. Thought I killed it. Did not. But yeah, the racing like this is why I love Watkins Glen. I'll say it multiple times while watching this. It's just really fast. You know, a lot of road courses, there's a lot of slow speed corners. and these cars get bogged down. But when you have a track like this where the cars can keep their speed up for the most part, it's going to be fun. And I think Chicago Street Course will do that as well. I think the way the layout for Chicago Street Course is, will have a lot of, there's not a lot of like really slow speed corners. A lot of the corners you'll be able to go in, you know, second or third gear. You don't have to go all the way down to first gear. Yeah, Briscoe wins stage 1. Great showing by him. Todd Gilliland showing a little bit of speed here, but I think he broke. So, man, everybody goes wide on that corner. Everybody goes wide on that corner in turn 1. But yeah, this S's. The S's at the Glen is probably my favorite series of turns at any road course, probably in the world. Just uphill, switching back, keeping the speed up. Like, you pedal the throttle because you don't want to, because right around here, you don't want to get full throttle and possibly clip that inside wall or come sliding off here. But basically, you're not coming off the throttle at all. You're basically almost pedaling. Oh my God, 3 wide. That usually does not work, but Kyle Busch makes it work because it's Kyle fucking Busch. Pardon my language. But yeah, that bus stop, and the bus stop is really quick too. And these guys, they attack it so hard. Look at this. They go 4 tires all over those rubble strips and just launch the car, man. There's Kimmy. Kimmy said he had a lot of fun, and he said he has no more plans to race NASCAR anymore, but hopefully we can give him some more plans, because I would definitely love to see Kimmy race again. As he said in an interview, he was just starting to get a feel of it and just starting to find their pace before. I won't spoil it. You'll see here in about a couple minutes what happens to Kimmy. But oh my God, look at that angle. I just love this. I will never not love this. Just launching off that. Bop, bop. Man. And here comes Chase Elliott. And we see, this is what I love. This is what I loved about this race, was seeing this battle on the replays. Chase Elliott versus Kimi Räikkönen. I'm pretty sure a couple years ago you would never thought you'd see this happening ever. But you got the 2007 Formula 1 World Champion taking on the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series Champion. And Kimi does not give it to him easy. Watch this right here. Hey, OT. Hey, OT with the subscription from Prime. Thank you so much. But yeah, Kimi does not give it to him right here. He holds him off. Oh my God. Appreciate the subscription. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, no, Seth. But thank you so much, Seth. But yeah, this was great racing. I kind of missed it here. You know, this is Kimi's first race, and he's taking it to. Look at this right here, coming off of the turn right here. Chase is going to try to go to the bottom. Kimi said, nope. Forces him to go the long way. And I think he outbrakes him. Yeah, outbrakes him, going in the corner, slides off. That freaking bug. And holds him off. But, of course, Chase eventually gets down to his inside. And once somebody gets down to your inside in this big sweeping turn, it's basically game over right there. But no, great racing from 2 world champions in their individual motorsport. I swear this bug is gonna fucking piss me off. It doesn't want to fly around, it flies right near my face, which is annoying me. It's about to get a freaking, next time I see it, it's about to get a freaking Febreze right to the face. Here you got Logano and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, another very underrated road racer. He's won a couple of road course races. Logano has too. I think Logano's won at the Glen before. So, definitely nobody to sleep on when it comes to stage racing. And there you see what happened to, unfortunately, to Kimi, what ended his day. First off, yep, Project 91. Such a shame, because he was running so well, too. Kimi was doing really well. As you can see, Austin Dillon got chastained, sent around, and Kimi apparently got caught up in that. You'll see here in a second what happened to Kimi. Poor Iceman. Yeah, gets... Oh, we'll go into detail about Ross later, but Jesus. But yeah, you see Kimi gets hit by the 27 right into the tire barrier, and doesn't seem like a hard hit, but in these cars, sometimes that's all it usually takes. You'll see right here, boop, bops up, locks up, bang, right into the fence. Chase Briscoe goes around. It's so weird having multiple guys in the sport with the name Chase. It's so weird. Here's Ross. Oh my God. See, this is the example of what not to do when you're going across these rubble strips. It got a little bit too much into the dirt. Look at the bouncing around. And around they went. Both of them able to keep it off the wall. But now here are the final restarts. 9 to go. I'm getting... It's like go wide. Oh my God! Look how wide Suarez was. Suarez almost clipped the tire barrier on the outside. Look how wide he went right here. Oh my God! And just barely be able to fit in behind the 22. But overall great race. Great restart by Chase. Chase gets out. Kyle Larson right on him. There's AJ Allmendinger in third. You can't count on AJ on these road courses. And there's Loris Hesman. Stuck in the kitty litter. That brings out the caution. And you guys will see. We'll go into this later, but this is what I was talking about. The rivalry, whatever, between Chase and Kyle Larson. Chase on the outside, going into turn one. Larson tries to outbrake him, locks it up, sends Chase wide, and it opens the door for AJ Allmendinger to take second from him as well. And I believe at that point, Chase Elliot, he lost third. He lost third to Logano, fell all the way back to, I think, down to fifth, and then was able to get back up to fourth. I think he actually got back to third. There you see Larson. Just checking out from AJ Allmendinger. Kyle Larson, man, when he's at this level, he's hard to beat. Definitely killed it this race. A lot of people have been wondering, like, what happened to Larson this year. I don't think nothing's happened. I just think it shows how hard it is to win in NASCAR, especially with this new car. The fact that he's only got this being his second win of the year. But, yep. I'll go over basically what happened with Chase and Larson, whether I think it was fair or not. And kind of think of what does Hendrick Motorsports do going forward. Yep, Kyle Larson defends his win here from 2021, sweeps the weekend, his second win. So now going back, let's go back to that last restart here. So first, before we get started, do I think the move was fair? Yes. I do think the move was fair. For those Chase Elliott fans, they might not agree with me. I think the move was 100% fair. Was it? Could have been avoided? Possibly. But at the end of the day, one thing I've noticed from going on social media and talking to a lot of people is if it's for the win, all bets are off. If it's for the win, and especially like I said earlier, how hard it is to win with this car this year. The fact that Martin Truex Jr. doesn't have a win. Ryan Blaney doesn't have a win. Those are two guys who had multiple wins last year. This is Kyle Larson's only his second win of this year, and he had 10 wins last year. Guys like Ross Chastain have gotten wins. NASCAR has done what they wanted with this new car, and it's leveled the playing field and made it more competitive each and every week. And yeah, so as hard as it is to win one of these, if you got an opportunity, you got to take it. So let's go back and review this. So I want to point out a couple things of why I think it could have been avoided. First off, you see Chase, AJ giving a little bit of a draft push to Kyle Larson. There, you see Chase a little bit ahead of him. But I want you to look at where you can see where the 22 and the 16 start getting on the binders, start breaking, and where Larson does. I'm no expert. I don't race these things, but it's kind of easy to see where cars start to get on the brakes. So going in a turn, boom, right here. You see that separation that they got from these two cars in front? That's them getting on the brakes. Clearly, I think Chase started to get on the brakes, but loosened it a little bit because he saw that Larson wasn't getting on the brakes. So here, these guys are really on the brakes. I think Larson's just now getting on the brakes, and then there you can see the lockup right there. Goes wide. Chase, nowhere to go. Now, granted, everybody was going to go wide in this first turn. I don't think I've ever seen a restart at Watkins Glen where nobody goes wide in that first turn. It's just normal at this point. Like, you have to go back to Chase, Eric Jones way back here, the first car that did not go over that. But there's only like a handful of cars that didn't go over there. But yeah, everybody goes wide into turn one. Runs them up. But once again, and then this is just a prime example of AJ. AJ got hit a little bit from the 8, but he was able to blow it down enough to get back on the throttle before Chase could and beat him to the throttle and get to the inside and take second place. Nothing Chase could do at that point. And the thing is, this track is so momentum wise that if you screw up turn 1, you're gonna screw up turn 2, and you're gonna screw up your run through the S's. So I think that's the reason why Logano was able to get a run on Chase and pass him for position there. So yeah, ultimately, I think that move was fair. Like I said, it takes a lot to win this sport, so you definitely got to take your opportunities where it gets. It might hurt some feelings, but at the end of the day, that's racing. Now, the next question to lead to that is, this is kind of technically the second time where Kyle has run Chase wide, and it's kind of hurt him from winning the race. We saw it back in California where Larson kind of doored him, and I think he got in the fence. Matter of fact, let me bring that up. I'm gonna have to go back a little bit further than this. Alright, so yeah, this was the first situation of them getting together. Right here, as you can see, right here, Chase has got to run. There's Larson right there. And he goes to the outside of Larson. Larson moves up, puts Chase in the fence. that was a little bit more wrong than what happened at the Glen. But needless to say, two teammates colliding, one costing the other to win. Same situation. And then ultimately that led to Chase spinning out, basically ending his day. Now my take on the whole situation is this. It gives me it reminds me of Mercedes and F1 with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. It reminds me of Red Bull in 2010 with Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel. You have two guys on your team that are both at the top of their game. And more than likely, they're meeting each other in these race-winning situations every single week. It's inevitable that they're going to be around each other. Now, to that statement, people, you can ask me, well, why hasn't he done it to William Byron or Alex Bowman? You know, it seems to always be Chase. I think it's because Chase is the top guy. You know, before Larson came to Hendrick last year, that was Chase's team. Chase was the golden child at Hendrick Motorsports. And in my opinion, he still is. Manel Larson's 10 wins and a championship last year kind of showed to Chase, hey, I'm the top guy too. This is now my team. So I don't know if he's not intentionally saying that, but basically that's what it kind of comes off as. Look, there's two top drivers here at Hendrick Motorsports. And before you get on me, as much as I respect Bowman and Byron, they're nowhere near as good as Chase and Larson. Sorry, they're not. Are they good? Yes. Are they really good? Hell yes. On Chase and Larson's level, far beyond it. Far away from it. Can they be? I don't know. But nonetheless, when you have, there's this thing going around, there's an old saying, iron sharpens iron, you know? But in this situation, no much anything on racing, but you seem passionate and well informed on, which is always, thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, basically in this situation, it's just a situation of when you got two top dogs in the yard, both of them want to be the top dog. You know, Larson wants to be the top guy at Hendrick Motorsports, whether he says it or not. Elliot's trying to retain his position as the top guy at Hendrick Motorsports. It happens. Now, one thing that Chase Elliott said in the interview was he kept noting to Bristol. If I'm correct, I have to look this up. Bristol is the first round. No, it's not even the first round of the playoffs, actually. Hold up. Because it's Darlington. Matter of fact, Bristol is the last round of the first round of the playoffs. So I really don't know why Chase is bringing up Bristol. I think he said it twice. He's like, looking forward to getting over to Bristol. I don't know if that was a mistake on his end and it just didn't click. Or he's thinking about something at Bristol. Which, I pray it's the latter. Where he's just like, oh, my bad. We're going to Daytona next week. Or we're starting our playoffs at Darlington. My bad. If it's what a lot of people are reading, he's thinking of doing something nefarious at Bristol. Now, let's flash back a little bit to last year, the playoff race at Bristol, where he got into a run-in with Kevin Harvick. We all know how that ended. But his run-in with Harvick allowed Larson to get the victory on that day. So, maybe he's thinking, hey, I'm not going to help you like I did last year, this year. I don't know. The only person who really knows what he meant by that comment is Chase. Now, I'm sure there was a big meeting, and God, would I love to have been a fly on the wall in the Team Hendrick meeting this morning. Because I'm pretty sure there would have been some colorful language. Ultimately, though, I do not expect this to escalate too much. I think this is just heat of the moment. Two guys, teammates, racing hard for the win. Larson, unfortunately, got into turn 1 a little bit too hot. Slid Chase up, cost him the win, cost him second place, cost him Hendrick Motorsports 1-2. Yeah. So, basically, that's my opinion on that. Is 2 big dogs in the yard, 1 bone. Dogs gotta eat. Simple as that. So, we'll see. But this definitely makes Bristol a much-watched race because it's the last round of the playoffs. So if Larson has a bad race at Darlington and a bad race at Kansas, and Chase is in a position to, make it a little bit harder on him, who knows? But nonetheless, like I said, I don't think it's going to be too much to think about. I think everybody is kind of making a big deal out of nothing. But then again, these are words out of Chase's mouth, so you don't know. Now, moving forward to the next topic, and I gotta say this, and this has been an elephant in the room. I've been talking about this on myself for a long time, and it is Ross Chastain. Now, Ross Chastain has been the topic of discussion for a lot of NASCAR fans. There are people who hate him. There are people who defend him. Lux, what is your opinion on him? In the nicest way imaginable. I don't care for him. I said this when I was talking to some fans at my local racetrack this past weekend. Once is an accident, twice is a habit, 3 times is a trend. It happened 3 times. It's happened more than 3 times. They put a graphic on social media today. 7 straight races where Ross has been involved in an incident with another driver. 7 straight. 7 races in a row. I know you guys know what straight means. Boom, 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 boom. Not one race doesn't do anything, the next race, red race doesn't do anything. No, 7 straight races. He's been involved in an incident. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of read between the lines there. Now, one thing that doesn't help, and I said this before to people, is his car owner. When the first incident... Wait, hold up. I just saw something. When the first incident happened, Ross has been... when the incident with Denny at Gateway happened, Justin Marks came out publicly and said, hey, I like our driver being aggressive. He has nothing to apologize for. This is what we want. This is okay by us. He ain't ruffling our feathers. Yada, yada, yada. It's okay. It's okay. Bad way to do it. Yes, do you want to give support to your driver as a car owner? Absolutely. Without a shadow of doubt, you want to support your driver, especially when they're going through scrutiny or whatever. But when the driver apologizes for something and you're encouraging it, means he's showing remorse. You are not. That's an issue. Now, I can go in on Justin Marks. He's a great road racer. Hasn't had that much successful NASCAR career. So part of me wants to say, what do you know? You know what I mean? You have one NASCAR win to your name, and you're being pretty bold. I made this comparison to a friend of mine at Richmond. Shout out to my friend Sarah Davis. I made a comparison to, I compared Justin Marks to the Mark Cuban of NASCAR owners. You know, young, fiery, not afraid to say what's on his mind. Some ways that's good for sport. Some ways, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes a little bit. So, ultimately, let's take a look at the incident that happened this past weekend. Now, one thing I just saw that I just kind of reacted to was how Ross dived in the corner. Second of all, another thing that needs to be pointed about this incident was an incident he caused and cost his car owner money because one of his cars got taken out in the process. This is Project 91 is Justin Marks' baby. It has its own kind of update page away from Trackhouse Racing, and basically Ross inadvertently put Project 91 out of race. Here's Ross right here. Look at the way he attacks this corner. Now, granted, a lot of people have been kind of attacking this corner a little bit wildly, but hops on it, bounces, like we saw later on in this race with Chase Briscoe, bounces, and then bang, gets right into Austin Dillon. There's not much for me to say, you know? At the end of the day, Ross is going to get what's coming to him. Ross, I don't want to be that guy, but Ross is going to get, as bad as Pocono was, his payback at Pocono, he's not going to last long making enemies like this. I can come up on a list. I'm pretty sure there's a video somewhere of the incidents Ross has gotten into this year. By the way, that's the second time he's gotten an incident with, what's his name? Austin Dillon. So, let's fast forward. This was, this right here was Richmond earlier this year. Now, this is a week after he moved AJ Allmendinger out of the way to win his first career cup race at COTA. Which, at the time, and even today's day, I can kind of excuse, because racing for your first cup win, you know, the first win for Trackhouse Racing, you got to do what you got to do to get a win. It's hard. You know, do I agree with it? Probably not, but I understand it. Here, racing with Ryan Blaney. This is the previous year. Ryan kind of, they get into it coming off 4 here at Richmond. I was at this race, by the way. Shout out to me. Ryan's got run, clears him, and then Ross just moves him up the track. Just moves him up the track. You know, blatantly. So, now I didn't see this one. Runs Truex up the track. And it causes Truex to spin and hit the wall. Yeah. I will say this. If Dover is anything close to real life as it is in the simulator, that turn 2 is it's so momentum. There's so much momentum. You come off that turn, if you're just a little bit loose, your car is basically almost floating on air coming off too. Because Dover, when you go into the corner, it's almost like a roller coaster when you go down. You like, it plants you down the seat. You know, you go in the corner, it plants you down and you make there. But when you come off the turn, you're elevating off. You're going from down at the bottom of the track to elevating high onto this banking right here. So at that point, you are almost on air, and you don't really get the car settled until about a quarter of the way down the back straightaway. And then when you go into turn 3, it props you back down again. So it is not a place where doing this, that's a wreck. You don't do that. Because the Truex car is already light as hell at this point, and you just basically took all the air off it and basically just sent him in for a loop. So that was the incident between Truex. Now, I didn't see this originally, but yeah. And then this is the one that got everybody's attention. Gateway. Keep in mind, Hamlin's been holding, at this point in the race, Hamlin's held off Ross for a couple laps here. And then just moves him. It's not a situation of, oh, I got loose, he didn't get loose. It wasn't a situation of, Denny got loose, Denny didn't get loose. It's a situation of Ross drove it in too deep and just took him out. Plain and simple. Drilled him. Ended Denny's day. Now, Denny kind of paid him back a little bit. As you see right here. Made life real difficult on Ross. Let him know, hey, I didn't appreciate that. And here you see him waiting on him again. They told Denny and said it's over now, and he responded with, yeah, right. And here they come again. Now Denny at this point is multiple laps down. Ross almost does it again. And Denny, right in front of him, basically ruins his corner there, ruins momentum. But then later on in that race, around goes Chase off the bumper of who? Say it with me now. Ross Chastain. And Bubba got involved in it. Man, bummer. Now this one, I can see how people can defend him on this one. Same time, and this is where I can't. Because he stuck his nose in right there, but was able to get off the throttle and back out of that situation. He then proceeds to drive it in again and doesn't back off and hits him. So, what could you do? What did you do right here that you couldn't do right here? Please tell me. Like I said, I can see how people can defend him, but if the shoe fits. And then, obviously, Chase shows his frustration, nearly sends Ross up front, and then Denny says, oh, let me go ahead and show you I'm still pissed at you as well. Now, after this race, Ross said himself, that was a mistake on my bad. This is bad racing by me. I shouldn't have put my car in that position. That was on me. Ross admitted responsibility for both incidents that day after the race. Oh, and I didn't see this, but Chase. Oh, that was the first incident. And Sonoma, I didn't see this. Apparently cuts in front of Larson, locks up the turn, and gets into Austin Dillon, his good buddy Austin Dillon. So, ultimately, what am I getting around to? Ross needs to change his driving style. I hate to be that guy who says, I believe each driver's driving style is their own. I believe everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. But Ross's need to change if he's going to run up here with the big dogs each and every week. Because eventually somebody's not going to take to it. And their payback could end up, Ross eventually might get somebody hurt. That incident, we've seen drivers. I mean, Kurt Busch is wrecked at Pocono. He's been out for 5 weeks. What if Ross does that to somebody and they're out for 5 weeks? You know? What if a simple, I'm just being aggressive, puts somebody out of the car for a couple weeks or a couple months? It scares me what Ross could do at Daytona this weekend. It scares me. Because Ross just being aggressive could actually seriously hurt somebody this weekend. And it actually scares me. So, I hate to be that guy, but Ross does need to change his driving style. And Justin Marks needs to stop encouraging it. Because ultimately, like I said, it's going to get somebody hurt and it's going to get Ross in some serious trouble. And I think NASCAR needs to start bringing Hammer down. Just like they kind of intervened in the Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski drama, same thing needs to happen here with Ross. Speaking of Daytona, what a wonderful way to transition into talking about this weekend. So this weekend marks the last regular season race for NASCAR, for the Cup Series before the playoffs. And boy, what situation do we have going into this weekend's race? Man, let's see here. So going into this weekend's race, I'm trying to look for the playoffs. Here we go. Going into this weekend's race, right now, there have been 15 different winners. There have been 15 different winners. Right now, we have a serious situation where, for the first time since NASCAR implemented the win and you're in, as long as there's not more than 16 different winners, you know, that whole playoff format, since NASCAR implemented, we have a situation where we can have 16 different winners in one regular season. I think the closest we've gotten to, I think we had 14 a couple years ago. So we are at a position where, as of right now, should we get that 16th different winner, Ryan Blaney, who currently right now sits third in points, 8th in the playoff points, would get eliminated from the playoffs by having no wins. Truex is currently outside looking in. He is currently sit 6th in points off of his performance this year, but because of the 15 different winners, he is on the outside looking in. Now, there are a lot of drivers below the cut line who are looking for a win and legitimately could have a shot to win. Among those is Ryan Blaney. He won this race 1 year ago. Eric Jones, underrated plate racer. He has won at Daytona before. Austin Dillon, former Daytona 500 winner. Eric Almirola has won on super speedways. Bubba Wallace, his last 2 races at Daytona, 2 runner-up finishes. Justin Haley, we know his record in the Xfinity Series at super speedways. Chris Buescher won a dual race earlier this year and was a threat to win the Daytona 500 this year. Michael McDowell won the Daytona 500 last year. So there's a lot of guys sitting between 17th all the way down to 30th, which is minimum spot you have to be in points to at least qualify should you win. There's a lot of guys who could upset the balance and knock Ryan Blaney out of the playoffs. So this weekend is going to be very, very chaotic when you have that many drivers all racing for figuratively one playoff spot, knowing a win and you're into the playoffs. Now, I hate when people ask me, who do you think is going to win? Because at Daytona, you never know until the last lap. Hell, until the last corner, really. You don't really know who's going to win. Because so much can happen at any time. Who do I think is the guys who I think I'm putting my chips on or possibly leaning their direction? First off, I'm going Bubba Wallace. Back-to-back runner-up finishes at Daytona. Last year, finished runner-up, and earlier this year at Daytona, as you can see in my background picture, covered by my big old face, finished runner-up to Austin Cindric in the 500. He's definitely got to be a favorite, especially knowing how good he is at these super speedways. Another possible favorite, Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher. Both these guys seemingly were. Roush was back at Daytona earlier this year. Both guys had a lot of speed. Now, thing to note is, when we were here at Daytona, it was the first points-paying race for this next-gen car. So a lot of people were still getting used to it. But now we've had 25 other races. Multiple other restrictor plate tracks and super speedways to understand what this next-gen car will do. So these guys go into Daytona with a lot more knowledge on this next-gen car than they did back in February. So it'll definitely be a different, we don't know. Will the same cars have speed? Will new cars have speed? We do not know. But at the end of the day, if you're good at super speedway racing, you'll be good at Daytona. Plain and simple. But yeah, I definitely got a nod to Bubba Wallace, both hang on, because I know it's hard to say, RFKR drivers of Buescher and Keselowski. I wouldn't count out, as stunning as it would be, I wouldn't count out Justin Haley. I wouldn't count him out either. Austin Dillon, can't count him out. Eric Jones, can't count him out. There's a lot of guys. But ultimately, though, I do believe that the Toyotas might have a good strategy, because I know, as chaotic as it's finna be, I'm pretty sure the Toyotas are going to probably drop to the back and chill for the first couple laps. Now, unlike in February where they have 200 laps, you only have 160 in this race. So you got about 40 less laps. But as chaotic as it's going to be, right now, the thing to do is to stay in the back stay in the draft, execute your strategy, and then when it's time to go. And yeah. Now, what hurt Bubba Wallace in the Daytona 500 earlier this year was a lot of Toyotas were knocked out of the race early on, including his teammate Kurt Busch. So hopefully the Toyotas, who knows, maybe the Toyotas can do a little bit more. Now it's going to be split for Toyota because you got two drivers there's two Toyota drivers that are going to be battling to get that final playoff spot. Only one can make it in. So, does Denny help his teammate Martin Truex Jr.? Does Ty Gibbs help Kurt help Bubba, his teammate Bubba Wallace, get in? Do we have team orders? We do not know. There's gonna be a lot of storylines going into this weekend, and it's gonna be really interesting to see who can come out with it. But all I know is this is going to be probably the most watched race of the year, more than likely, because there's no way. It's going to be some chaos. That's all I'm going to say, basically. It's going to be some freaking chaos. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun weekend. If I had to, right now, kind of figurative gun to my head, make a choice, I'm going with my boy Bubba Wallace. 2 runner-up finishes in the last 2 Daytona races. I think he's owed one. I think it's time. I think if there's any time to get that Daytona monkey off your back, it's this weekend. And I expect him to have a good playoff run, actually, because there's a lot of races in these playoffs where Bubba almost won at and had a fast car at earlier in the year, especially Darlington, Kansas, head back to Martinsville. So it should be fun. But yeah, that's who I think. Now, before we pop off here in the first episode, F1 is back. Now, I haven't paid that much attention to F1 this year, me being a salty Mercedes fan, but Red Bull has basically walked away with it, and chances are right now, I don't see that changing. Now, there are new regulations, from what I've been told, to limit the porpoising. Porpoising, is that the right way to say? Porpoising that we've seen plague a lot of teams, notably Mercedes. There have been regulations informed that a lot of teams have to do and change their cars for. We'll see if that benefits Mercedes in the second half of the season, if that hurts Red Bull and maybe makes this championship battle a little bit more competitive. Because right now, unless anything changes, Red Bull's going to walk away to an easy Constructors' Championship and an easy Drivers' Championship with Max Verstappen. I hate it, but it is what it is. Because Ferrari has been absolute dog shit. Okay, they've been horrible. I'm sorry, they have. And it's a shame because Leclerc is driving well. Sainz got his first win this year. I want to see him do good. But they ain't doing good, and it sounds like they don't want to do good. So, who knows? Right now, and the funniest thing is, with the way they're going, Mercedes might be able to pass them for second in the Constructors' Championship, and that's bad, considering the fact that Mercedes does nowhere near have the car that Ferrari does. So, that's something to be concerned about. But no, it should be good. Hopefully it'll be a good and competitive end of the season. I fully expect Max and Red Bull to run away with Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship. I don't see anything changing that end, but hopefully Mercedes can get a win. Lewis has been close. Russell's been on the podium a couple times. Hopefully Lewis can get one win. Just one. That's all I want. I just want one win. I just want one. Just want one. But yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting to see. Other news, IndyCar wise, I think Joseph Newgarden won the IndyCar race at Gateway this past weekend. Basically, really bringing down the championship battle. It is a championship. Trying to see if I can find the point standings here. Because right now, oh yeah, it is 4-3. 80, 81, 82. 3 points separate first and second championship between Will Power and Joseph Newgarden. Joseph Newgarden with 5 wins this year. and 1 pole versus 1 win from Will Power but 4 poles. So consistency. And it all comes down to there's only 1 race left. Oh my god, this is gonna actually be interesting. Yeah, New Gardens won races at Texas, Long Beach, Road America. I think that was Sonoma. I think that was the DoorDash 250. Hy-Vee. Was that Sonoma? Where was this at? What race was this at? Hold up. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, Iowa. That was Iowa. My bad. Yeah, he won the Hy-Vee Deals 250 at Iowa. And then recently there. Oh, they have 2 more races, actually. 2 more races left in the season. They go to Portland on the 4th of September. And they head to Laguna Seca for the season finale. So that championship battle is going to go down to the wire. And it's... Before you think, oh, it's just going to be those 2... Old Scott Dixon is nipping at their heels, not that far off from these championship battles with 468 points. Marcus Erickson's in the hunt. Palou's in 5th, but I think Palou's out. I think right now the top 4 are the only people who realistically, unless big problems, have a chance at this championship. Who I want to see win it? I don't like Will Power. Sorry, I don't. So I really want to see New Garden. I also don't like Dixon. I know. How could you hate Dixon? I just do. It's like Jimmy. He's like Jimmy Johnson when he was in prime. When he was in his prime at NASCAR. I hate him because. Thank you for the follow, Seth.
Choo-choo bitches.
Choo-choo bitches. There you go. I hate him because he's too damn good, and there's no reason to hate him. Stop winning all the time. You know, I hate him because he's good. He's like Jimmy Johnson. Like I said, you want to hate him, but you can't do that. You want to stop him, but you can't do that either. He's just too damn good, you know? So, but yeah, if I had to pick who I want, I either want Erickson or Newgarden. Those are the 2 guys I want to win the championship. But we'll see. Should be definitely interesting. Yeah, there's not much news outside of racing world to go into. Oh, there is one more thing we'll jump onto this before. The Kyle Busch situation. Now, if anybody is new to this, Kyle Busch has been racing with M&M's and Joe Gibbs Racing for the last 15 years. Earlier this year, they announced the M&M's will no longer be sponsoring NASCAR. They're pulling out of sport. They've been a part of sport since the late 90s. Now they're out of the sport entirely. And Joe Gibbs have yet to re-sign Kyle Busch because they need a sponsor to bring him that money to do so. So now there's been rumors of Kyle Busch going to Stewart-Haas Racing. There's been rumors of Ty Gibbs getting the 18 ride and driving for his grandfather's team. There's a lot of rumors. Personally, I do not see Toyota losing Kyle Busch. Mainly because Stewart-Haas Racing just announced, kind of preemptively announced, but it's all signs leading to Eric Almirola, who was set to retire at the end of the year, coming back for 1 more year, means that 10 rides locked up. And signs saying Greg Zipadelli said in an interview that he planned for Cole Custer, who everyone thought would be the odd man out if Kyle Busch goes over to Stewart-Haas. Signs are pointing that Cole Custer will return to the 41 next year. So basically that leaves either re-signing with Joe Gibbs or going to Colleague Racing. But in my opinion, if he doesn't go to Joe Gibbs, I can see him putting in at 2311. We do not know what Kurt's status is going to be. We know he's going to be missing this weekend's race. By the way, Kurt, if you're watching this, get well soon, buddy. Can't wait to see you back. We don't know. We don't know what he's when he comes back, if he's going to be back 100%. And he's already hinted at retirement at the end of 2023, so who knows? Maybe at the end of the year, he calls it quits. And at that point, who's going to drive the 45 car? I think right now, and this is my prediction, by the way, I hope I'm wrong in this situation. I hope Kurt Busch comes back better than ever, runs out the rest of the season, comes back strong in 2023. That's my hope. But I predict Kurt saying, look, I had a good career. You know, maybe just sitting out for the rest of the year. And saying, you know what, this is the end of my career. Maybe coming back for one race, maybe racing Phoenix just to have a good last race of his career. And I could see 2311 saying, hey, we'll bring Kyle Busch over to replace his brother. 2311 has a boatload of sponsors that are not full-time. Jeez, hold up. They have a boatload of sponsors that are not full-time that they could easily probably call up and say, hey, look, we need a full-time sponsor. You guys willing to fund the car for a full year? One of those sponsors being Moneyline. Moneyline just signed on with what is it? With 2311. We've seen them in a couple races this year. See if they can step up and fund a car for the full season. Embrace Home Loans. Maybe they could. Logitech has popped up as a small sponsor. You know, DraftKings has popped up. So, of course, you got McDonald's, who is a big sponsor for that team. There's a good couple of sponsors that possibly could step up and become a full-time sponsor for Kyle Busch if he should move over to 2311. Not to mention, when in 2024, when Tyler Reddick comes over, I think it's likely he brings over 3 Chi and Cheddar, the restaurant Cheddar. I don't know what the restaurant is, but bringing over his sponsors from RCR to 2311, and there's 2 more sponsors you can pick from. So I think him going over 2311 allows a lot of a win-win for everybody involved at Toyota, because they keep Kyle Busch Motorsports, which is a big bargaining point right now, because Kyle Busch Motorsports is a big pipeline for Toyota talent in the truck series. So if Toyota loses that, they got to find a new pipeline, and it's hard to come up with one right out of the blue. So I think that's the main reason why they don't want to lose Kyle Busch. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Kyle Busch resigns with Joe Gibbs Racing. I hope Kurt Busch returns to 2311. But in case it doesn't, that's my prediction there. But I do think the news of Eric Almirola possibly coming back out of retirement and Greg Zibelli saying that Cole Custer is going to be in the 41 next year, I think that shuts down all opportunities of him possibly leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, because people say, oh, what about Colleague? I don't know about Colleague. I don't think Colleague has the sponsorship to lure a Kyle Busch over to that team, or the money to do so. And then again, from what we've heard from Kyle Busch in the media, there's a good chance I can actually see him sitting down a year until something pops up. That's a possibility. He sounded like the decision he's about to make is going to be a big change. And he said, like, it's going to look different than it has for the last 15 years. So it leads a lot of people to believe he's leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, but the question is where? And I think right now the 2311 is the best win-win for everybody. But we shall see. We don't know what we don't know. That's the beauty about silly season. That's the best part about silly season, is we don't know what we don't know. So it's up for me to speculate and predict, for you to speculate and predict. But yeah. But guys, that is going to do it all for episode 1 of the LuxxRyder Show. If you guys liked it, for those on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. You subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that like button and hit subscribe. If you're on Twitch right now, if you want a link to the YouTube page, it should be in all my links. Definitely go in there and drop a subscription over there. Appreciate that. But as always, guys, as we say here, till next week, till we recover over the madness that happened this weekend at Daytona and over in Spa in Formula 1. Till next time, guys, as always, Godspeed, ride on, and chew, bitches. Adios. Peace out, guys.